Okay, I'm going to explain where I was going last night, and that whole other house thing that a lot of you in this group don't know about. You don't understand why I was going over that house. You don't even realize there was a house over there. Uh, and I'm doing this specifically for True Ghost Stories, okay? Because a lot of y'all don't understand what's going on here and why I was going to that house. About 10 years ago, somebody was murdered in that house that I was in last night. Um, the story that I got, and I got it from a third party, was that it was an old man. Um, and uh, after he was murdered, my landlady bought it. And they replaced the flooring and they just painted over the blood on the walls, which I've heard is not very smart. That it's very disrespectful and you know, it can cause paranormal activity just because of the energy that's in the house and the disrespect now that whatever's left back in their fields because, their pain and suffering was just painted over. Now, I don't know if that's true or not. But that was the story that I got, that it was an old man. After he was murdered, a Native American woman moved in, and she told my landlady that she was being terrorized by something, and she couldn't explain what it was. So she had a shaman come in who blessed her house, and there was never any more problems after that. She lived there for, I think, 3 or 4 years and never had another problem. Well, then she moved out, and when she moved out, her blessing went with her, I believe. And another family moved in. Those were our neighbors that were here when we moved in. They were here, and their whole lives fell apart. Man, their marriage fell apart. Um, you probably couldn't see. I know the video wasn't very good last night, but there was holes in the wall where the husband put his fist into the walls. Uh, and he ended up going to jail for something and was going to be in jail for a minute. And his wife didn't want to stay there by herself, so she took her kids and left. They didn't even take their cats. They just left. So their cats came over to my house, and they were wild. They were born outside, and they never went in the house. We just would put food and water out for them. They'd come up and play with my dogs, and then eventually, one by one, they all just disappeared. One died out on the front deck, and the other two left and found another home somewhere. And I did see them after about 3 months later, and they were all fat, fat and happy. So I guess the last time they came was just to say goodbye because I never saw them again. But so she took the kids and left, and it's been empty ever since. I went over there after they moved out, about a week after they moved out. I went over there with my nephew because my nephew, it's a big house. It's like 6 bedrooms. And he's got a big family. He's got children from his wife's previous relationship. He's got 2 of his own kids with her, so they've got a lot of kids, and it would have been good for them. They go over there, he'd fix it up. I mean, it would be back to nice again. But for whatever reason, his wife didn't want it. She didn't want to move into it. The rent would have been great. I mean, but she's a real sensitive person to things like this, and she didn't want it. So it's still empty. Now it's just deteriorated to the point where they're just going to have to pull it off the property. But so I was talking to my wife the other day before she went out of town, and was telling her about the little kid, the child that is around here that I've picked up in my recordings. And she said, well, that makes sense because it was a child that was murdered over there. And I was like, I thought it was an old man. And she said, no, it was a child. And then, of course, everything falls into place. You see what persistence does? You keep after something keep recording, get as much EVPs as I can, as much evidence as I can to try to put together a story. Now it makes sense. The kid, all the children that I see in my photographs, the little girl that I have pictured over here that I thought was creepy and evil, maybe she's not. Maybe that's the child. Maybe it was a female child. I've got 3 female children photographed over here. I've got one behind my door. I've got one over here on the couch, and I've got one looking in the top pane of the window and looking down at that crystal cross that I've got on my coffee table back here. And now I've got the EVPs of the child. So you see it all. And those pictures that I took those a year ago. So now I get something a couple of days ago that fits in with the pictures I took a year ago, and it's starting to form a story. So maybe that's what it is. Maybe it's the kid that showed up not only in the EVP, but showed up again as a disembodied voice behind me and talked to the whole video. The whole video. He's saying, "Don't you love me? Help me, Mama. Can you hear me?" Through the whole video. And you can watch that. It's I'm not sure what the video title is, but it's where I'm playing. It's the child says, "Help me, Mama." That's the title of the video. The EVP of the child says, "Help me, Mama." While I'm explaining that EVP, you can hear something around me somewhere. It sounds like it's behind me, of a little child, and he's saying all kinds of stuff. And he talked to the whole video. So I do believe that I've never gotten any pictures of an old man or any EVPs of an old man, or I mean, I've gotten male and female EVPs, but I've never gotten any photographs of an old man, or all the photographs I get are deemed demonic looking things. So this is the first time where I now have photographic evidence and audio evidence of a child. And now I've got story child that gets killed over in the house over there. So now I've got a dead child next door. I've got photographs, 3 photographs of a child or more, because y'all said that in the photograph of the shadow person peeking out from around my door that y'all see a lot of children in there. So now I've got audio, I've got the story, I've got audio, and I've got photographic evidence all wrapping around either a child or children. So finally, it doesn't seem like it's so senseless, all the stuff that I'm getting. So over the next couple of weeks, I'm going to do some things in my house. I'm going to set up my phones. I'm going to see what I can gather, see if I can get any more children. I'm going to try to get some more EVPs, try to put more of the pieces of this puzzle together and see what we come out with. But I thought I'd give you the story about why I went over there and where I was going and what I was doing last night, because I know a lot of you are like, what is this house? Where is it going? What is this? And I realized that you didn't know, you weren't familiar with the whole story. So, thought I saw something. But anyway, so that's the story of the other house and the child and all the stuff I have that ties into children. So stick with me, and when the sun goes down, I'll stay here tonight, and we'll try to catch some EVPs. I'll talk to you later.